First off, welcome back and thank you all so much for your patience. It's been a blessing working on a dream of mine, even if I never make a dime, and honestly, all of you make it worth it. Once again, thank you, and enjoy the video. The story was when I was young and brave and kinda did some stupid stuff without thinking. It was a wild ride, but it's all true. I used to work at a pizza shop down the street from 2 p.m. until they closed. I usually didn't get off until 11 or so at night. I had a car, but was close enough to walk, so I did that most days to save gas. This particular night, I was doing my usual thing, jamming to one of my playlists, tired, but happy to just have a good job, and generally happy with the way life was going. Up ahead, about a block from my place, I see an attractive guy in dark clothing, but not walking with purpose really. He was taller than me, maybe 5'10" to 6 foot or so, and had shaggy brown hair. The closer I got to him, the more I could tell he was really good looking. Like even in the dark of the night, I was starting to get excited. His features kinda escape me now, but I do remember his hair and his thick eyebrows. I took an earbud out because I'm from a dangerous city and I never really cared about stranger danger. I decided to talk to him, maybe even flirt a little bit. How was your late night going?
It's good. Just looking to get drunk.
Oh, that I can help with. I have a mini bar at my place. I live just down the street. That was not verbatim how the conversation went. During the walk back to my place, I got no red flags from this guy. He seemed totally normal, and I was honestly thinking, wow, just through sheer luck, I met this super hunky guy that seems cool and fun. I was beside myself, really. So we get to my apartment on the second floor. I jump into host mode and offer him to have a seat and make himself comfortable. The apartment is about 640 square feet, so it's very small. Except for the bathroom, you can see the rest of the apartment from any area. I head into the kitchen, and while I'm pouring drinks, I glance back over at him. It was then that I noticed a first red flag. As I was asking him questions, he's more delayed with his answers, especially more so than he was on our walk here. It was just odd to me. I go back over to the couch and pass him his drink and sit down next to him. So what do you do for work, I ask.
Oh, I'm not here for sex.
He put his drink down on the table. What do you mean? I'm not here for sex either. He stands up.
What do you got?
He asks me. His nice guy vernacular and friendly face are now gone. I'm having a hard time processing what he means by this.
I said, what do you got?
The second I stand up, he pushes me back. I fly across the room, hitting the floor, but not hard enough to pass out or anything. I get right back up, but he's already grabbed my laptop and my work bag. As I start towards him, he cuts around me and makes his way towards the front door. I'm right behind him when he makes it outside. I manage to grab a hold of him and we tussle again in front of the door. Now I shout, calling on help from the neighbors. It's late night so no one comes. I'm shouting, please help, I'm being robbed. The thing is, he has my laptop. It's not just any laptop. I hate to admit it, but my entire life was on that laptop at the time. Important photos I did not have backed up, thousands of dollars of music programs, video game programming stuff for a development team I helped, really expensive software, etc. It was in my mind, irreplaceable. I give chase down the stairs, across the dog walk park, and I start to gain on him. We tussle again, and the only thing I can focus on is my laptop. I knew what I had to do. At any cost, get my laptop back. That was absolutely all I cared about. Somehow, I get a grip on my laptop. I tug at it again, and I guess he decides I'm not worth all of his struggle. He gets up and starts to take off again. I now realize he still has my work bag. It has my cell phone, wallet, with my license, debit card, AAA card, etc. in it. I take off towards him again, and this time he shouts back,
Follow me and I'll stab you again.
This makes me stop in my tracks as he gets away. Underneath a street lamp, along a sidewalk, I immediately inspect myself. Was I stabbed? No way. There's no way. Then I see blood running down my leg. I see blood on my arm. 2 places where he cut me good. I'm scared, but the blood makes it look worse than it actually is. I decide that's enough. I got my laptop, and that's all I really wanted anyway. I hobble back home and get inside and lock my door. I called the cops using my neighbor's friend's phone. The next day, I filed a police report explaining the situation, showing the stab wounds, and declining medical services. I can't afford that, and I was fine, all things considered. So all that guy got was a crappy cell phone and a wallet with like $30-40 in it. The cop called my friends back several days later and said that they were not able to find the guy and that he would keep me posted. This was years ago, so I don't know where the robber is on multiple drives to this day. This incident happened about 5 years ago. This is a story I never really tell anymore because most people are either uncomfortable hearing it or, well, make well-meaning comments about what I should have done without really knowing or understanding how differently your mind works when you're experiencing absolute panic. But you guys seem to get it, so here's my story. I was living in a relatively nice apartment in downtown Memphis working as an ophthalmic technician. I arrived home from work at my usual time, around 4:30 p.m., unlocked my door, and went inside. I set my phone, my wallet, and my keys on the kitchen island, hearing the heavy metal front door swing shut loudly behind me, and began taking care of some errands around the house. Having grown up in a small town, it was a habit for me not to lock my door during the day, especially when I knew my husband would be home soon anyway. I've never forgotten to lock my door once in the 5 years since this day. I walked through my bathroom into the large walk-in closet and began hanging up my laundry that had started earlier that day. My front door opened and I smiled in surprise. My husband was home a little early, and I happily called out to him, "I'm in here, love." I was met with silence and slowly began to feel that sinking feeling of something is wrong crawl up my spine. I tried to shake it off, thinking my husband simply hadn't heard me, and walked out into my living room/kitchen area. Standing on the other side of my kitchen island was a complete stranger. He was male, older than me, I would estimate 50s, but it's hard for me to recall the exact facial features or details in this moment. He was just standing there, staring at me. No ski mask, no weapon, just watching me. I wondered if maybe he had walked into the wrong apartment and was about to apologize, but he continued to stare. I realized I needed to do something other than just gawk at this stranger in my house. I stood taller, puffed up my chest in an attempt to look more threatening, which is hard to do as a small female, and used a loud, clear voice telling him to get out of my apartment, that he had no business being here. He completely ignored me, like I hadn't spoken. Then he began to pick up my things, my cell phone, my keys, my wallet. He picked them up methodically and put them into his own pockets. That's when it truly hit me that this person was dangerous. I was naive enough to believe that this was all a mistake until that moment. I darted forward towards the only other device that I had that would allow me to get help, my computer. I had to take a few steps closer to the intruder in order to reach it, but I still had about 12 to 15 feet between us, so I knew that I could grab it and run before he could reach me. As I picked it up and turned to run, I saw him start to move after me, and I sprinted towards the bathroom because it was the only place I could go that would put two locked doors between us, my bathroom door and the closet door. I slammed and locked the first door, and within seconds I could hear him messing with it, trying to open it. I ran into the closet and locked that door too, opening my computer and getting on Facebook Messenger to contact my husband. I sent message after message, pleading with him to call 911 and tell him there was an intruder in the apartment. He got the messages within minutes and assured me that he had a dispatcher on the phone and was leaving from work himself to try and get to me if he could. I waited and waited. The bathroom door opened, and the intruder came inside. He moved to the closet and started trying to break that door down, too. Here's the part where people usually start to give me advice on how I should have acted, but all I can tell you is that I was frozen. With fear, with shock, I don't know. But I didn't scream or cry or search for a weapon in the dark closet. I didn't brace the door or try to hold it closed. I just kneeled in the closet and waited to die. Because I knew that's what was going to happen. People like to tell me that if I lived in an apartment, surely if I'd screamed, someone would have come to help. Surely there was something heavy enough in the closet to defend myself with. Hell, even the laptop would hurt if I swung it at someone. Why didn't I do anything? I don't really have an answer for that. But miraculously, the door held. I heard frustrated footsteps go back into the living area of my apartment. I heard things breaking, bottles shattering, my drawers and refrigerator and cabinets being flung open as things were being torn out of them. I continued to sit in the closet, silently crying, wanting to leave, but feeling that death was inevitable. I feel awful about my selfishness in that moment, but I messaged my mom, who lived about a 15 hours drive away. I told her what was happening. I desperately wanted comfort and to tell her how much I love her. I I'm not a parent, but I can only imagine the fear and helplessness I put her through knowing that her daughter was in danger and there was nothing she could do to help. She messaged me constantly, begging me to keep replying. I told her that I would as long as I could, but I also told her to tell my brothers that I loved them, to help my husband through whatever happened next if it ended badly for me. The intruder started messing with the closet door again, mumbling disjointed words that I couldn't really distinguish. I remember hoping that the police would get to the apartment before my husband and that he wouldn't be the one to find me in whatever state the invader left me in. The front door opened again and it was my husband, shouting for me. The intruder walked out towards the living room/kitchen area again, where my front door was located, and I opened the door and darted from the closet to find my husband on the ground with him, pinning him in place. The man kept mumbling, at times yelling, but never really putting up much resistance. This entire part is a blur for me. I remember feeling like the room was spinning, filled with fear mostly for my husband at this point. Eventually the police found my apartment. It took them about 25 minutes to arrive, which still blows my mind. I know time seems to move slowly during scary situations, so I thought it was way less than that. But from the time my husband called 911 to the time the officers arrived was 25 excruciating minutes. This isn't intended to bash anyone in any way. It just always seemed like an unusually long response time for a home invasion. They got my things back from the man and took him out of my apartment. I numbingly went through the process of filing a police report telling them what happened. One of the officers commented that I should really keep my door locked at all times. I remember feeling like he was being insensitive at the time or blaming me for what happened, but later I recognized that his words were coming from experience. I'm sure he's seen the situation end differently for other women. After 30 minutes, the scariest incident of my life was over, but I've carried the fear, the violation, and anxiety of having someone intrude my space for years. If it happened to me once, it could happen again. So about 12 years ago, I was 9 years old, and I was home alone with my 12-year-old brother. We were supposed to go to my aunt's house and have lunch and wait for my mother there. We always did that because we were too young to stay at home, according to my mom. We got up at 10:30 a.m. I took a shower, then my brother. After that, we were both in the bathroom brushing our teeth and finishing up when we heard someone knocking on our door. Since every time someone knocked at the door, they turned out to be a salesman or a Jehovah's Witness, we kind of waited for them to go away. After a couple of minutes, I went to see if they were still outside the window, and no one was there. What a relief. We continued getting ready when we saw a shadow go by the bathroom window, which was kind of like one of those small squares made of glass that made everything behind it really blurry. We waited just in case it was a bird flying by when a hand hit the window clear as day. We got scared. We didn't know what to do. My brother had his cell phone, so he immediately called the police. While it was ringing, we heard a loud bang on the door. Someone brute forcing it. I don't know yet if they were kicking it or ramming it, but it was one of the most frightening things I've ever heard. My brother told me to lock the bathroom door, so I did. It took 5 bangs for the perpetrator to finally open the door. The police answered. I remember the exact thing my brother said. He was whispering so his voice could barely be heard. Hello? There's someone in our house. I think they're stealing. Then a pause. We are at our address. Another pause. I'm with my little brother locked in the bathroom. Please hurry. While all that, I was sitting against the wall, hugging my knees. It was one of the most nerve-wracking experiences ever. I could hear the man going through all of our stuff, emptying stands, going up and down the stairs, opening cabinets. He even broke a few cups and plates. I don't know why. Then I heard the sound that my cell phone does when it turns off, and I remembered leaving it in the kitchen table. I felt so stupid for leaving it there. The things continued for a couple of minutes when we heard him try to open the door to the bathroom. My brother got a hold of a big rental rod we had lying around. He started kicking the door.
Who's there?
The man screamed. We said nothing. Another kick. Then another. I felt that I was about to have an anxiety attack. My chest started to ache. I had chills and then was really hot. I tried to remain calm, but it was just way too much. After that he stopped. We heard the door opening and then silence. We waited for almost 10 minutes before going out of the bathroom. The living room was a total mess. Lots of papers and books on the floor. The cabinets were open, cups and plates were on the floor. In our mother's bedroom, the nightstand and the closet were open and everything inside them was all over the place. Upstairs in our room, it was the same thing. In about 5 minutes, the man was able to go through everything we had and left it a total mess. After that, my brother called my mom, and she ordered us to go to my aunt's ASAP, so we did. When we got there, I was a little more relaxed. My aunt was waiting for us with ice cream, probably because my mom told her everything and she wanted to calm us down a bit. We went back home at around 5 o'clock. My mom told her boss that she had to go home for an emergency, so she left early. She tidied up the house, cleaned up everything, and left it the way it was before so we could come home and relax. I really appreciate my mom and my aunt's effort to calm us down so we didn't have to think about it. According to my mom, the police got home after she arrived at around 3 o'clock, 4 hours after the incident. She explained everything, but because of the lack of evidence, nothing could be done. The man was never caught, and honestly I don't think they ever tried to search for him. The next days, my mom was home with us. Now I tell this story to look back and laugh at. Luckily no one was hurt, and he only took useless stuff, but at the time I was terrified. To a 9-year-old, that can have extreme mental repercussions. I'm lucky it never came to that, and I got over it in a couple weeks. These videos are intended to bring about awareness to the dark side of the world we live in. As a reality of life, violent crimes happen every day in our neighborhoods. Keep your loved ones safe, and remember to say I love you. If you liked the video, remember to like and subscribe. And remember, watch your back.